So let's start by creating our actual document. So let's go to File, New, and a type of size that I really like to use is 2000 by 2500. The ratio of this size of poster is 4:5. That is perfect for watching it on your phone, or it's perfect for any type of social media. I keep the resolution to 72. Again, this is just because I plan to make my poster just to be shared online, so I don't need any higher resolution. Let's keep the color mode to RGB, and background custom, that's fine. And another important thing is that the color profile here is set to sRGB. And again, this is just because we're preparing something that is gonna be consumed online. And we can go on and type a title. So let's call it white hair poster and click create. Okay, we got our poster here. And before we jump into actually working on the girl and start doing things, we need to plan. Again, as we said before, we already checked what the other poster looked like, but we need now to rebuild the same type of look and feel in this new one. So I'll just create a new layer and I'll show you what I mean when I say planning. So first of all, I want to make sure that that my subject stays in the middle. So when I plan the actual positions and proportions, I want to make sure that everything is set, it's pretty centered, so it's gonna look even more nice. So I'm gonna have my girl probably with the head thing around here, so it is in the middle. It's a little bit higher than the center, so her eyes are gonna be around this point. And we're gonna have the neck and the body run down here. So maybe this is gonna be a bit too small. Again, this space is really important. Now, it seems like we're just doodling around and not really doing much, but it's really crucial, because if we define right now exactly what we need to do, it's gonna be much easier later. And yeah, so we need to allow for enough space for the hair. Yeah, and I think this looks pretty good. The level of the eyes looks good. That's all centered, and it feels like a nice composition. Now we can go on and open our image. So we had it here. It was already opened in another file, and now we move it into our actual comp, and we do that by selecting the whole picture and clicking Command-C to copy, go to our file, and Command-V or Control-V to paste. And now the first thing we need to do to make sure that we scale this image without compromising the quality is to turn this layer into a smart object. So we right click on it and we click Convert to Smart Object. And now that it's converted, we can easily transform it and scale it down so it fits our composition. So we lower the fill a little bit so we can see what's going on underneath. And if we click Command-T or Control-T, we bring the transformation options, and we can scale it down and place it more or less where we think it will work. Again, let's try to keep this background sketch that we did just as a reference, more or less to where we want to place our subject. So here looks good. Maybe slightly to the left. So she is centered, even though her head is a little bit off center, but that's all right. Maybe another thing we can do is to rotate her a little bit, because I noticed that her eyes are not really aligned, so we can just rotate her a bit. And so we basically are manipulating the image, so we have her head sitting a bit more in the middle and her body staying a little bit more to the left. So it works a little bit easier and a little bit better for us. Now, in this case, I've drawn these guides over here to set the center of the file. That was pretty arbitrary, and I just drew them really quickly. There is an easier way to actually set the guides in the middle of your composition, and I'll show you how I do it. So let's just reactivate this layer. And to do that, what I do is I create a selection that covers the entire file. So to do that, you click Command A or Control A. So we create a selection. And now if we right click and we go to transform selection, what we get is just again another transformation box. But in this case, we don't want to transform the selection. What we are using this option to is to actually set our guides in the middle of the composition. So now with the transform selection active, we can bring our guides from the side, and you will see that when we go closer to the middle, it will snap in position. So we know exactly in this case that we placed a guide exactly in the middle of our document. And we can do the exact same thing from the top. And again, it will snap in the middle. And that was it. It was really quick and easy. And now another very important thing, after you've set the guide, you need to click OK right here. This is basically to get rid of the transform selection, but also keep the guides. And now that we set the guides, we can simply deselect with Command D or Control D. And now we have some precise guides in the middle. Let's see how close was I. I was actually pretty close. And now we can use these guides to actually move around our image a little bit. Maybe I want her eye to be really exactly aligned in the middle. It's gonna be a nice little touch. Maybe I can rotate her a little bit more so that her shoulder goes more to the left. And yeah, I like this composition. I think it looks cool. It looks balanced. So from now we can moving on and keep working on the subject.